This is Dabu7. In this video, I want to focus in on the black walnut tree, and in terms of survival, value, and a lot of things pertaining to this tree, it's knowledge that is very helpful. These trees can be specifically bred for their lumber and for their nuts, and there's two different things that you can get out of it, and this is why it makes it a very useful tree. But they have to be in good condition. In many of the areas out there that have these trees, they're hit with this 1,000 canker disease, which I'm going to show here in just a second. But there's many different things that you can do to try to determine the value. First off, the overall size of the tree is one of the biggest, and the fact that it is not disease stricken. And what I'm doing here is I'm measuring in 3 different spots, and I'm trying to get an average on the size there of this tree. Now, that's what someone would do, and also trying to get a value on the tree and to see exactly what size lumber could be cut from a tree like this. Now, it takes 20 to 30 years for this process of maturation to hit its peak. Now, some could say, oh, well, that's just way too long, but you have to think longevity. And there's plenty of trees already growing all around. So if you're looking at properties or you have property, go out and take a good look. See if you can't positively ID one of these. This is the black walnut. And you can see it has these things hanging from the bottom of it. And these are the states where you're most likely to find it. Now, the one good thing that I have going on here in this situation is you can see Kentucky there in the middle. It doesn't have any interior or exterior quarantines going on with this, which is key. And you can see some other areas, the Carolinas, Georgia, Alabama, Arkansas, Louisiana, Texas, even down into Florida. These areas do not have the disease, but there's large areas that do. That alone right there, because of all of this, it makes these trees that much more valuable. They can be bred specifically for their lumber, or they can provide for their nuts, or both. And this is what many people do, as long as they can grow them the right way and stay away from this 1,000 canker disease, which has these little bugs that you see right there come in and start this process on them. You can do some research in your neck of the woods to see if you have any of these around, even on your property, and look at the other trees. This is just one instance. I just wanted to focus in on this one because of what it offers, kind of the rarity at this point, because there's so much disease spread through a lot of these areas. It makes this kind of rare in terms of finding good trees, and that's why the prices are so much higher in terms of this. Now, there's a couple things you need to consider before you cut or sell a tree. You need to consider making sure that it's large enough so that you'll be able to sell it for a good price. Now, in some cases, the tree will need to have at least a 14-inch diameter before it can be sold for a good amount of money. The bigger the diameter, the bigger the worth. Sometimes the tree will be valued depending on its financial maturity and its biological maturity. Some buyers will also grade the tree depending on the quality of the wood. The tree can either be graded as veneer or lumber. Veneer quality means that it's pretty much rare. Veneer quality trees are rare. This is why they are more valuable. Now, for a black walnut tree to be given the veneer quality, it needs to have as much as 19 inches in diameter, and it should not have any defects. You're going to have natural things going on, but it shouldn't have any diseases, any kind of other stricken defects. And some suggest that you grow these trees till they're at least 25 inches in diameter so that you'll have a good value. Some experts also say that as soon as you see the tree get to this range of between 24 and 26 inches in diameter, this is where you have to, what they call the culling process, where you go in and you shake out all of the smaller all the dead stuff, and leave room for growth. And what you're doing is you're also trimming this to where you're going to end up coming back and collecting all the walnuts off of these trees. And you're going to use these trees, and you're going to gather income off these trees, off the walnuts from here. And throughout this process, throughout the first couple years of you growing these trees, there's not much going on with them in terms of production, obviously. Now, for trees that have an 18-inch diameter, you can get as much as 100 board feet. For trees that have a 24-inch diameter, and you can pause and write all this down if you want to look into some numbers here. For 24-inch diameter, you can get as much as 220 board feet, and the stump value of both trees will be $100 and $220 respectively. So the stump value alone gathering you money. So in many instances, the stump removal costs some money and it's a hard job, but here they're worth enough to even just pay for the job itself and have some on top. Now, for the veneer quality trees, on the other hand, they need to have at least 22 inches in diameter, as well as an 8-foot long log that is in good quality. Okay, so there has to be an 8-foot log section that is in great quality. Now, this tree can make for as much as 170 board feet, and since it can be sold for around $3 per foot, you can get as much as $510 for it. Now, if the veneer quality tree has a 26-inch diameter, it might fetch as much as $1,300 in the market. And in some areas, a 19-inch veneer log will only be valued at around $700 to $800, while a 25-inch veneer log will be priced at $1,400 to $1,600, depending on the current market conditions. So if you want to sell the nuts, on the other hand, you should know that in this process, you can yield as much as 2,000 pounds of walnut per acre. In the U.S., you can sell these walnuts to a Hammond's Products buying station for around 13 cents to 45 cents per pound. So the conclusion to all this is that the black walnut trees are very valuable today because they're known to have quality lumber. They have delicious walnuts. They can be worth a good amount of money, and you can do multiple things with them. But because of the fact that you need to wait as long as 10 years before these trees can produce walnuts, you'll also have to wait for as long as 30 years before the nut production itself can reach its peak. So at about 30 years, you're going to be in business with these trees. It's something to think about long term, and if you want something on your property to pass off to your family that they'll thank you for after you've passed on and down the road, when they can depend on that, they're going to be like, wow, so glad mom and dad thought about this because now it's saving us all these trees that they planted. And it may be a sad day when you have to cut them all down, but hey, that's why they were put there. And for every one that you take, plant two. Okay, you'll have to wait 50 to 80 years before you can get the best value out of most trees. So think about that. If you have a property you share with your family, you have children that are young, plant them with them now. By the time they're old, hey, their retirement, it's just right there waiting. Plus, it can be a business on the other hand. So keep some of this in mind in terms of this. I'm going to leave a link also. It talks about Tom Jenkins. And he was talking about what he's doing with his Walnut IRA. He has 20 acres of black walnut trees originally planted in a 12-foot by 12-foot grid that he gradually thinned out. And he was using the space in between to grow blueberries, blackberries, and other things. And he estimates that where the price of everything is going from right now, by the time he's ready to retire, that he'll have well over $1 million. And most people don't realize this, but because there's a special property tax rate that encourages timber production, the property tax is almost zero. Guys, these are key things to be thinking about and looking into in terms of property and everything else. And survival for you and your family, longevity, a business. I mean, there's a lot here in terms of this. Now, in full production, he states that he's looking at somewhere around 6,000 pounds of nuts per acre. The black walnut logs bring a premium price, and they have ever since the 1700s, with single trees bringing up to $20,000 a piece. Now, Bruce Thompson, the author of Black Walnut for Profit, estimates that a mature stand of black walnut trees can bring in about $100,000 per acre in the timber value alone. So, things to think about, and you might want to take another glance at the trees on your property, what's out there, what you may be able to do with it. And I'm going to continue to go over information like this because I think that it helps in terms of survival. It helps in terms of the family as a whole. Being able to know your environment, connecting with Mother Nature, knowing the difference between them, the value of them. How many times could you have walked past a big tree like this one here, which the diameter on this was like 53, on average, 53 inches. So this was a monster one compared to their 25-inch standard they were going with there. So this is double that. And you want to make sure there's a good 8-foot section to get a good log out of. And it looks like there's plenty here on this one tree. But walk around your property, you're going to be amazed at what you find. I'm telling you, all over the place. This is native to North America. And I will continue to share information like this, so stay tuned for more. Like I said, links in the description box. Some survival tactic information in regards to the black walnut tree. If you guys want to reach out to me, hit me up, dabu7yahoo.com. Make sure to follow me on Twitter, bookmark undergroundworldnews.com for exclusives. And until next time, this has been Dabu7. Much love, y'all.